Fatal blows blows. Normally, if you like something I don't like, I'm like, good for you, who am I to judge? I'm happy, you're happy. Have fun being gay. But in this instance, I will absolutely judge you for liking fatal blows. No blow should be fatal. Fatal blows are an objectively bad mechanic. What kind of fuckhead takes an ultimate and makes it mandatory? The biggest, rarest, most impressive thing in the game, let's spam that every match. What? Okay, let's take a step back. For the non-MK/non-fighting game people here, first of all, what are you doing here? Second of all, quick definitions, many games feature some kind of resource bar, like the standard mana pool, which you use for various powerful abilities, and which either recovers slowly on its own or stays dead once it's consumed. The supermeter or bar in a fighting game is somewhere in between the two, whereby it generally doesn't recover on its own, but various actions performed by you and your opponent will fill it up and make it explode faster than a virgin in a red light district. But the bigger difference is that unlike most mana orbs, this one's shaped like a really long cock, making the whole thing feel more masculine, which is the only reason I play fighting games, really. That and self-loathing. Anyway, the sex offender bar fills up bit by bit when you perform things like special moves or pressure your opponent and force them to block a lot. Wait a minute, the round, moist-looking one fills automatically over time, and the dong-shaped one fills up based on how you perform? These really are feminine and masculine. And this one's deeper, and you can spam things over and over again without using it up, while this one's gone after using it like twice. And the genre here is usually cutesy fantasy, whereas the genre here is punch in face. Okay, focus. In Mortal Kombat games, the super penis has 3 gradations on it, like a thermometer. Once it fills past the first line, you can use an enhanced special move, like a bigger, faster, more powerful fireball, for instance. Once 2 bars get filled up, you can perform a combo breaker, which will stop the opponent from molesting you and hurl them away. Very useful in the prison bathroom. And once all 3 bars get filled, the game's pretty much over. You choose where you squirt and you... Wait, wrong video game. Once all 3 bars get filled, you have the ability to do this big ultimate attack, your ultimate jutsu that no one ever leads with in anime for some fucking reason, that gives you this cool animation and a hefty chunk of damage. Pretty cool and straightforward, has a nice sense of progression to it as you slowly build up to this grand climax and then unleash your magnum opus after 2 minutes of foreplay, or 2 seconds in your case. It's a clear-cut system that's pretty hard to mess up, but fear not, they found a way to mess it up. In the latest games, fatal blows, as they were rebranded, are no longer tied to your supermeter at all. Now you just have spontaneous orgasms throughout the day, which sounds cool, but it's not. Because the thing is now tied to your health bar, and when it gets low enough, voila! Instant cum shot. You're a masochist now, is what I'm saying. You see, NRS was concerned that super moves, or X-rays as they were called, weren't being used often enough. Because why would you? They just barely deal about as much damage as a regular combo, so why waste meter on it? So they thought, let's instead make them universally available for everyone every match once their shit gets pushed in enough to help them out of a bind. And while I appreciate their enthusiasm for problem solving, stop blowing holes in my shit! This ain't it, man. Imagine if battlecruisers were mandatory in StarCraft, so much for match diversity and different strategies and unit compositions. Now you know every single match will devolve into BC versus BC bullcrap. Imagine if every Counter-Strike match ended in bazookas, every skirmish ended in a devil trigger, every blowjob ended in death. That's way too often. The mechanic loses its luster. It becomes common. You get bored of something that should always leave you surprised and in awe. In MKX, it was a surprise because X-rays were a rare occurrence, but not so rare that you almost never see them. Meter is very precious and far too useful for too many things to blow it all on one attack that does less damage than one Emma Watson speech. But in certain situations, it was worth it, because the main utility of X-rays is not their damage, it's their speed, range, and super armor. An unbreakable attack that hits almost full screen in the blink of an eye, that's very useful in certain situations when it could win you the game. So you do end up seeing it every now and then when you least expect it, when sometimes even the casters forgot it was an option or the opponent didn't pay attention to your meter bar and didn't notice it was full. And when it happens, the casters go wild, the crowd cheers, and the match just suddenly doubled in excitement. But in MK11 and 12, same thing. There are very few cases in which you don't get to blow your fatal load, because again, it's no longer associated with your meter, it's its own separate thing that's always on and becomes available when you're at low health. Moreover, and this is the part that really gets my goat, if you miss, it recharges. It comes back after just a few seconds, so they effectively force you to use this mechanic every single match. Why are you gay? The biggest problem with it is it's a comeback mechanic. Not only is it a comeback mechanic, it is the comeback mechanic. The one comeback to come on all backs. Comeback mechanics are fine in limited forms with limited effectiveness, but this level of potency is unjustifiable. You are now actively punishing the player for winning. As soon as that health bar gets low enough, player behavior changes drastically because they now have to constantly worry about getting freight trained to the face by an attack that is independent of your meter. And don't misunderstand, X-ray X-rays in MKX and 9 are halfway comeback mechanics as well, because you not only build meter actively, it also builds as you take damage, quickly leading to X-rays that may or may not turn the tide. But again, the meter bar has multiple uses, so X-rays compete with breakers and enhanced moves at all times, and breakers especially tend to be more useful in most scenarios. But the funny thing is, this was considered a bad thing. That's why they changed it to Fatal Fellatios. It was a good thing. Super moves don't need to be seen every match, they don't need to be a crutch for newbies, and they don't need to do more than they already did. Although, having said that, I think if they ever do supers again, they should definitely vary the effects and give them more utility, like grant a buff, summon a construct, heal some health, warp time, any number of perks, each unique to one character. I see no reason to limit everyone's ultimate to being just one attack that does 33% damage. You could argue that this levels the playing field and keeps things balanced. Balance. Funny. Again, they're not used all that much, so why not spice things up? Give people more of a reason to use these while still keeping the thing tied to the meter. There's so many special abilities supers could bestow. Scorpion could summon demons that periodically attack the opponent. Reptile could enter an enhanced state that drastically improves his frame data, making things like his dash safe on block and opening up new combo and pressure possibilities. Except unlike Nimble, it doesn't go away when you get hit, and time doesn't slow down, so your opponent still plays comfortably, but you have to transition from string to string faster, because you're now less minus or actually plus on block on some things. So you, the Reptile player, have to practice this state separately to get used to it and construct your set play. Sub-Zero could activate his ice armor, not the flimsy jammies Unbreakable sub has, a true ice armor that lasts quite a bit and offers some serious damage reduction and maybe grants armor against certain moves and enhances all your other ice moves, breaking off bits of the armor to enhance the damage and other properties of your Ice Blast, Shatter, Clone, Slide until you have no armor left, probably giving you something like 4 charges in total. Kinda like what they try to do with Cyber Sub's bot summon things in MKX, but far less boring. Or if you want something more elaborate, his ultimate could freeze the whole arena and reduce his temperature to like 200 below, such that your opponent takes damage over time and or their meter gradually gets drained, and if they block or stand still for more than a few seconds, they get frozen for a free combo. So you'd use this in combination with heavy pressure to keep them blocking long enough to freeze their asses off. Noob could summon his clone as a temporary ally, much like Kenshi summoned Sento in M1K. Johnny already has a special ultimate via his star power thing. Some people could just recover a bunch of health, others could activate perma armor, others still could slow down gravity such that both you and your opponent take more time to fall down after pop-ups, enabling more combo opportunities. Kenshi could do a blindingly fast sword strike that crosses the entire screen, has a huge hitbox, is impossible to react to, and if it hits, it applies some serious bleeding damage, such that you have like 10 seconds left to live, regardless of how much health you have left, which would sometimes create these tense situations where Kenshi's at low health but lands the attack on an almost full health opponent, so now everyone's gasping to see if Kenshi can dodge his opponent long enough for them to bleed out, or is the opponent gonna instead land the final blow in the nick of time, just before his health bar fully fades. You could do a similar thing with a bomb mechanic, something akin to Warrior Predator's foe self-destruct, but much more potent, whereby you spend all 3 bars to activate a countdown that beeps steadily, unnerving everyone, and it would take quite a bit of time for the countdown to count down, but once it does, your character explodes like a mini fucking nuke, and deals a little bit of damage to you and a crap load of unblockable damage to the opponent, like 20 to 50%. Would obviously need extensive testing to find the right number. So as with Kenshi's super, the race is on to see who meets their win condition first. And the cool thing is, sometimes the suicide bomber does, sometimes they just narrowly don't, but sometimes you end up with a draw, because the explosion kills the opponent, but it kills you also, because you wound up at danger health just before it blew. This would work wonders for a Cyrax or for that one character I made. And then some characters could still retain the traditional big dumb armored attack or parry, further diversifying the pool of abilities. All sorts of metas could form from this, whereby some characters ignore their ultimate most of the times because they deem the other stuff more important, while other characters' ultimates are so useful you plan your entire strategy around building all 3 bars as soon as possible and activating the thing. Or not. If you get this right, you'll ideally make multiple strategies viable. Kotal Khan's super move, for instance, could be an omnidirectional sunbeam, radically amplifying the sun's rays for a short time, lighting up the entire stage, slowly healing Kotal while dealing damage over time to the opponent. One strategy could be to hoard your meter all the time and do as many sunbeams as possible throughout the match, whereas another strategy could be to spend your bars as you get them on enhanced damage reduction or damage dealing totems, which may be better options depending on the specific matchup and your specific playstyle. Or a third option yet could be just the standard saving up bars and breaking and block breaking as often as possible and just use non-enhanced totems, although breaking tends to be pretty situational. But overall, X-rays were a mechanic that required a wrench, not a mallet. It required precise tweaking, not a brash overhaul, and everyone who likes fatal blows is just probably bad at the game, so they like when their hand is held and their butt is babysitted. I'm also bad. doesn't stop me from acknowledging that what's truly bad is this. By the way, does anyone know why time stops when you activate a fatal blow or a super in Injustice, and why you get this awkward close-up on the character? I swear this bothers me more than the mechanic itself. What's the fucking point of this? Why break the flow of the game? Things have already been decided. If the opponent blocked, he blocked. It's such a lame-ass thing to do. It infuriates me to no end. Anyway, in summary, the only thing that deserves a fatal blow is fatal blows themselves. Special thanks to Sir Hishishin and Clocks, as well as my other members, for supporting the channel.